This is the Mode Tempo, and it's my new favorite 60% keyboard, and here's why. This is the newest keyboard from Mode Designs. You may be familiar with their previous boards like the Mode 80, the Mode Envoy, and the Mode Sonnet. Well, this is their new 60% keyboard, the Tempo, and it's available in group buy starting today. The starting price is going to be $259 with expected turnaround time in December of this year. With that said, my copy is going to have some slight variances from the final version you'll get your hands on, but other than that, this is essentially the final version, it's not a prototype. Now in full disclosure, this keyboard and everything used in the build today was provided by Mode Designs for the sake of reviewing the Mode Tempo, but my opinions are my own. I was not paid to say anything good or bad, and Mode won't be seeing this until you do. The layout here is a 60% symmetrical layout, so you've got these little corner keys missing from your traditional 60% layout. And honestly, I think it looks really nice. A lot of people like this layout. I myself have never used one of these, but I really like how it looks. There are going to be two hot swap options. You have the option of a normal spacebar or a split spacebar, and either one supports step caps lock if you prefer. The soldered version also offers an ISO layout and a split left shift. Soldered version only for those, not hot swap. You've got a 1U key to the right of the right shift, which by default is the function key. The bottom row has a 7U spacebar, so that's going to be a little bit wider than the typical 6.25U spacebar. Plus you have two 1U keys and two 1.5U keys that are going to be all along the bottom row here. So for this build, you're going to want to pick a keycap set that can accommodate whichever layout you're going with. Now my version here is the gray version. You've got a number of color options available, and the weight I have on the bottom is E-white, both of which are aluminum. For the weight, you also have the options of brass, copper, and silver mirror brass. You also have a number of options for the accents here that go along the top. I opted for the walnut because I am a sophisticated gentleman with class and taste, but also I just really like the wood. The case has this pretty unique, almost polygonal design along the corners, along the backs as well. You even see it from the top of the case, as well as from the front when it's sitting on your desk. The way the shape of the accent is perfectly machined to fit the form of the case itself is really nice and seamless. I could barely even feel that there's a divide here. You've got your USB-C port here toward the bottom of the case, which I really like. It makes it pretty easy to find and plug in the case without scratching the wood or the weight or what have you. You got a typing angle of 5.8 degrees with no pop-out feet or stick-on feet or anything like that. It's 298 millimeters by 113 millimeters with a front height of 19.44 millimeters. I'm able to type on this pretty comfortably without a wrist rest because I do elevate my wrists when I type, but for something like gaming, I do recommend probably getting a wrist rest. The board's going to include your choice of case, plate, weight, accent bar that goes along the top here, fasteners for securing the plate into the case, PCB, daughter board, screwdriver, keycap puller, switch puller, some mounting blocks which we'll get into in a minute, and feet to go in the bottom. Now Mode did also send me some foam inserts and some stabilizers which are not going to be included. You got to add those onto your purchase. I've got PCB, plate, and case foams which I will be using in this build, and the stabilizers are Duroc V2 PCB mount which I'll have lubed with Krytox 205 grade 0. The PCB I have here is white, but the final version is going to be black. This hot swap version I have here supports 3 and 5 pin switches, and the soldered version will as well. Now you've got a number of plate options, but I have the carbon fiber option. Now if you have built or kept up with the Mode Envoy, the build process here is very similar. The bottom weight is removed internally, and you're going to want to do that first if you're swapping yours out for another color option, or either way you're going to want to do that to insert these unique ribbon style rubber feet that go through the kind of vent looking holes in the bottom of the weight. By the way, those ribbon feet are going to be slightly thicker in the final version so that they have a little bit more coverage area on your desk. Now for mounting the plate, the Tempo uses Mode's unique block mount system. You have the option of these lattice blocks which are squishy and offer more flex, or these solid ones which offer very little squish if you're going for a stiffer typing experience. You just place them into these little grooves on the inside of the case and they fit perfectly, with the longer stem going into the bottom of the case and the top going to the plate. Now my version here has 4 fasteners to secure the plate to the case, but the final version is only going to have 2. One here kind of underneath the Q and the tab, and one over here by the right shift. To keep the experience with how the final version is going to be, Mode has asked me to only use those 2 fasteners, and so I have. Mode was also kind enough to send me switches and keycaps to complete the build. The switches here are their Tomorrow tactile switches. These are lightly lubed from the factory with Krytox 205 grade 0, full nylon housing, long pull palm stems, and a 62 gram bottom out force. The keycaps I chose to go with the gray case are Mode's anthracite keycaps. These are cherry profile double shot PBT ABS compound caps. It includes a ton of keycaps with tons of compatibility options, so it was no problem at all putting this board together with Mode's own keycaps. And with everything put together, here's how the board sounds. Now I really like how that sounds. It kind of has like a punchy, clacky, tactile sound with these Tomorrow switches. It reminds me a bit of the sound I got out of the Cycle 7 a couple months ago, and I really liked that one, so I obviously really like this here. Now of course, depending on which switches you choose, you're going to get a different kind of sound, as well as whether or not you opt for the internal foams and which ones you do or do not choose to use. Now again, this is an aluminum case, so you're going to want to keep that in mind when it comes to how the board may sound. Since I was choosing tactile switches, I wanted to go with carbon fiber to give me more of a somewhat stiff and more tactile feeling and sounding experience, and honestly this sounds better than I had hoped for. Now this is compatible with VIA and QMK. I myself use VIA most of the time. Here's the default layout the board came with out of the box with the hot swap single backspace version. With left control where caps lock would usually be, you turn on caps lock by holding function and pressing tab. 2 Windows keys and 2 Alt keys on the bottom row, and the function key to the right of the right shift. Of course, using VIA, you can adjust any of these to your liking and really make it your own. I really like this keyboard, and I gotta thank Mode again for sending this out and giving me the opportunity to review it. From the looks, to the sound, to just the overall typing and user experience, I'd say this one's a winner. But ultimately, at the end of the day, as always, whether or not it is worth the price tag is up to you. Check out the group buy page, look at the pricing, configure your design, and see how it looks, see how you feel. Now, if you want to check out this keyboard, I will have an affiliate link in the description, and if you want to take the plunge there, really it helps the channel, so it's much appreciated. By the way, if there's any information that I forgot or just didn't have for this video, because the group buy page is going live when this video is posted, everything is going to be available in the group buy page. Thank you again to Mo Design for sending this out for review, and thank you for watching this video. If you want to see another video, I will have some on the page here, and you can subscribe if you're new. Like this video, leave a comment, and tell me what you think about the Mode Tempo. Do you plan to pick one up? Have you used Mode Design's boards before, and what was your experience with them? I'd really like to know. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I'm out.